All right, today we're going to follow a single piece of data on its journey. We'll track it from the moment it's born on the factory floor all the way up into the cloud and then see how it makes its way back down again. This is really the hidden nervous system of any smart factory. And once you understand its path, you start to unlock the secrets of how these places really work. So let's just start with a really simple question. You've got a machine on a production line. It finishes its job, and for just a split second, it creates a signal. Now what? I mean, in a traditional factory, maybe a light just turns green. Or, let's be honest, maybe nothing happens at all. The moment is just lost. But in a smart factory, that tiny little signal is so much more than a blip. It's really the birth of a data point. It's the beginning of a whole journey that's going to transform it from just a simple event into a really powerful business decision. So let's trace its path. Okay, so our story starts right here, at the source. We're on the busy, noisy shop floor where thousands of these little events are happening every single second. This is where our data point is born. So what is a raw signal, really? Well, it could be anything. It could be a sensor flicking from off to on, a machine finishing its cycle. Maybe an operator just taps OK on a screen. The point is, these are just fleeting moments, literally milliseconds of information that pop up and then they vanish. If you don't have a system ready to catch them, they're gone forever. And so is any insight they might have held. So how do we actually catch these signals and make any sense of them? Well, that's the job of the Manufacturing Execution System, or the MES. The best way to think about it is as the factory's brain and its central nervous system all rolled into one. Its whole purpose is to translate the chaos of the shop floor into structured, useful information. And the MES is listening to everything. Seriously. It's getting automated signals directly from the machines, things like cycle times, alarms, specific process values like torque or temperature. But at the exact same time, it's also capturing inputs from people. Operators confirming a task is done, logging a defect code, or declaring a scrapped part. It's this amazing fusion of human and machine data. And here's where the magic really happens. The MES doesn't just see cycle complete. The second it captures that raw event, it wraps it in context. Okay, what product were we making? What was the work order number? Which station did this happen at? What time was it? All of a sudden, that simple, fleeting event has a story. And that story is what makes it so valuable. So you can think of the MES as that first, absolutely crucial data layer in the factory. It's all about answering the immediate local questions. How many parts did we make this hour? Why did that unit fail inspection? What's the current OEE, the overall equipment effectiveness of this line right now? The whole focus is on execution right here on the floor. But in a modern factory, the journey can't end there. All that valuable data can't stay locked away on premise. It has to travel up into the cloud so that we can start to see the bigger picture. So let's follow it to the next stage. This is where you see this massive shift in perspective. Down at the local MES layer, the questions are all tactical. How many did we make this hour? But as soon as that data gets to the cloud, the questions become strategic. What are our production trends across all of our factories? You see? We go from troubleshooting one single failed part to analyzing the health of the entire enterprise. And once all this rich data from the shop floor gets to the cloud, it goes through another transformation. This is where your business intelligence or BI tools come into play. You can think of them like powerful data chefs. They take these mountains of raw ingredients, all those individual records, and they cook them down into these clear, digestible insights that managers can actually act on. So instead of being totally buried in spreadsheets, leaders can finally see the big picture. They can look at trends for OEE and scrap over time. They can spot quality hotspots using a heat map. And they can even use tools like a Pareto chart to pinpoint the biggest sources of downtime. The raw data has now become visual intelligence. I know this can all sound a little bit abstract, so let's just walk through a quick, real-world example, because this is where the power of this entire data journey becomes crystal clear. So picture this. There's a machine on the line that keeps having these tiny little stops. We're talking just a few seconds each time. The operator just hits restart and moves on, probably doesn't even think about it. Each individual stop seems completely insignificant, easy to ignore. But the MES didn't ignore them. It caught every single one. And when all that data was aggregated and analyzed in the cloud, the truth came out. This Pareto chart shows the real story. And what's the number one cause of lost time? Small stops. It's death by 1,000 cuts. That supposedly insignificant problem was actually the single biggest drain on production, way worse than the big dramatic breakdowns that got everyone's attention. And look at the result. Before this data journey, the problem was totally invisible. After, the root cause gets identified and fixed, and that led directly to less hidden downtime, which means higher throughput and even more stable product quality. That is a real, tangible business impact, and it all started from those tiny little signals. So here's the really crucial point. This journey cannot be a one-way street. I mean, collecting data and making pretty dashboards is fine, but it's totally useless if it doesn't lead to action. The real power comes from closing the feedback loop. Just think of it like a two-way street. The data travels up from the shop floor through the MES to the cloud, and it becomes insights on a dashboard. But then those insights have to travel back down. They have to become actions, things like adjusting machine parameters, updating work instructions, or prioritizing maintenance, right back on the factory floor where it all started. Now, when you get this feedback loop working consistently, something really amazing starts to happen. You're not just running a smart factory anymore. You're actually building a factory that learns, a factory that improves itself. And this quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. The goal isn't just to display dashboards. It's to build a factory that learns. It's not about having data just for the sake of it. It's about creating a living system that can sense what's happening, understand it, and then adapt to get better and better over time. So what does a learning factory actually do? Well, it's a place where data gets captured one time, but gets used by many different systems for many different reasons. It's where analytics aren't just a report you look at once a month, but are the constant driver of improvement. And ultimately, it's a place where your decisions get faster, more accurate, and, most importantly, proactive instead of just reactive. Okay, so let's quickly recap the whole journey we just followed. 1. Raw signals are born on the shop floor. 2. The MES gives them structure and context. 3. Cloud platforms aggregate all that data and analyze it. 4. Dashboards turn it all into clear insights. And 5. The most important step. Those insights drive decisions and real improvements right back on the line. And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important question you can ask. Look, it's easy to collect data. It's much harder to complete the entire journey. So you have to ask yourself, is your factory just collecting data, or is it actually getting smarter? Because that's the difference between a factory that's just smart and one that's truly intelligent.